Hello, thank you for tuning in to my official YouTube channel, Reverend MeeLing. I'm Reverend MeeLing, also known as Reverend Susan MeeLing, Lady MeeLing, Lady Dori, Belle. I've been known by a few names. I'm going to continue on trying to get as much as I can completed in reference to finding the silver lining, the short book, so that way the explanations could be done as best as possible. So, chapter in reference to the military. So, 9/11, I had done quite a few aspects of explanation and finding a silver lining by Susan MeeLing, the bigger book. I was ironically writing that portion in regards when listening as I was typing to the actions of the Navy SEAL Rob O'Neill and what he had done when being interviewed by Steve Doocy, which was on Fox News. And ironically, the time being 8:19 p.m. or 22:19. And then the time in regards to the actual attacks in regards of the World Trade Center back on 9/11. I had been excited to hear, and I would guesstimate I'm not the only one who was excited to hear about that situation being taken care of. Now, while listening to that, you know, I had other thoughts and feelings in various ways. And so going in reference to the aspects of the actual attacks on 9/11, I had discussed in prior videos how I had spoken with who I had spoken with after speaking out loud while my 9-day-old son was in the bed. I had wrapped him up, just finished giving him food and stuff, and my now dead ex-husband had run up the stairs in the apartment, and I had asked why he had been in the apartment at all, and the television turned on. And on the television screen, I saw the images from way back when, in regards to 1993's attack, over the images, or under, how it kind of blended, and I realized that was my nightmare right there. And just spoke out loud. And I had said, you know, hopefully that they can ground all the planes best as possible, and people can contact their loved ones if they can, and even if it's just a message, and they're able to get everybody to safety and just all these other things. And I dealt with the aspects of that. And that was what it was. However, when listening to the report from Stephen Ducey in regards to Rob O'Neill, I didn't actually see what he looked like when that particular interview was going on at that time. And I just listened. Well, and then certain aspects came forward in different thoughts. And then there were issues as far as the Marine, Andrew Tomarisi, and it was just after that particular broadcast. It was like breaking news or something like that, and I just, what? And so, freaked out a little bit, and okay, what do I need to do to get stuff taken care of? Again, in that regard, and how can I best possibly do anything? I mean, I'm just, at that point I didn't realize certain aspects. I don't deny that. I knew that I had landed where I had, but I had never seen a Navy ship in that thought process of like, oh, there's like a Navy ship. I had been to one in Corpus Christi in the time frame of like the NRA gun show, but by that point, scuba diving, not that I didn't care about scuba diving, it was more along the lines of what my focus was in that point in time and what I was dealing with. And so it was one of those, okay, well, you know, it's just a, you know, my thoughts were, oh, well, that's a tiny little ship, and whatever particular ship that was, like, oh, it's tiny, it's a cute little ship. Compared to the Vandenberg, technically, it is a cute little ship, compared to the Nimitz class Vandenberg. It's cute. It's so cute. It's so tiny. It's so little. It's like a little Dori compared to the Vandenberg. Not being rude, just with us, well, compared to, I mean, lengthwise, looking back, nonetheless, you know, it's cute, it's so cute. Which is different than cutie patootie. Very, 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 very different. Let me clarify that. Because he is cute. And so got a little warm. And so I felt like there was a part of me that was just like, I have to, when I was done with finding a silver lining and finding the silver lining, and I had registered it through the Library of Congress and sent it for publishing, and then ordered a bunch of books, and I sent, like, I kind of figured, well, the Library of Congress, that's like Congress, because it's called the Library of Congress. So that means Congress is involved with the Library of Congress in my thoughts. And so that means like Congress in the Library of Congress books. And so at that point in time, then it was, well, let me take this over to Senator Murray's office in Washington State. And then, you know, at that point, well, gave books also to Temple Beth Hot Philo, Miss Caramel, which afterwards, after giving her those books, it was Purim, which was interesting. And I've written about scuba diving and acknowledged the aspects of the Jewish Medical Journal in regards of getting involved with scuba diving, and a few other aspects in regards to several points. And I didn't hear anything back. It was one of those, well, maybe it's important. Send it here, send it there. In all sorts of places. Not just news, not just, obviously, the Library of Congress. And so on and so forth. I gave the books to neighbors right across the street, military associations in that regard, female that I got my haircut style by at that point, before Lindsay, and so on and so forth. And just, oh, well, maybe somebody, oh, no, not that, okay. Well, I'm still working on my Medal of Honor art project, so I'll just do my Medal of Honor art project. And so that, it's kind of, it would be interesting if Q Platoon Navy SEAL, because it never clicked until right now, that, I'd sent books to Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, so on and so forth. After the Library of Congress, it's the Congress that did it. So Congress does Congress stuff, and they probably have something to do with, like, the FBI. I didn't know that's what they were called at the time. Or law enforcement. They know law enforcement guys somewhere. Probably met one or two guys here. And so didn't realize there were so many different aspects in regards to the government for the United States of America until like 2019. Nonetheless, here. And so I had sent to Q Platoon Navy SEAL. Here you go. Here. And then they came back. I was like, oh, well, fine. Apparently. And at that time, it was one of those, well, fine, I guess. Got that wrong, or not that important. Pouty. Threw a temper tantrum, not realizing he could have possibly read them at Fox News at all. No, with Q Platoon Marine, because apparently he's a part of Fox News too. I didn't know that. And so, in reference of my Medal of Honor art project, then there's that whole aspect with the, and so, but nonetheless, in regards to that aspect of the 9/11 stuff, I had done what I could, where I could, and I knew that I wasn't the only one who could do certain things. Everybody had their own aspects to partake in that regard, and I listened, and it was one of those I could hear certain things in his voice. That's all I can say. in that regard. And the other guys involved with that. And so that particular interview was pivotal to hear. Absolutely pivotal. In a multitude of ways. And the stuff that wasn't said was quite different in other ways, but could be heard in my own weird stuff in that regard. And I had ironically, the following year of sending the books, ironically, I was in Montana that following year. And and then called 911 a whole bunch of times because of the fires and stuff like that, and not knowing about other stuff. Nonetheless, still on me, Cupid too. It's a personal thing. I don't deny that. So, however, the aspects of the good, the bad, and the indifferent, well, the good in regards to being able to stop certain aspects, the bad in reference to the aspects that weren't able to be stopped, but the good coming from that which was able to be stopped. And then in regards to the indifferent, in the reference there, and even in an overall sort of way, when writing that, it was, I hope, and I didn't put it in writing, it was just, I hope that there's a way to find those that have a bad or a negative view or an indifferent view, because I knew that I couldn't be the only person who had dealt with certain people that were just so beyond insensitive to the situations that had occurred, not just on the day of 9/11 in 2000, but also afterwards. It's just one of those, I hope that this actually does good to sweep out the indifferent aspect and the bad aspect in reference of the problems. So that way it genuinely brings forward real change, genuine change, fixes things, repairs the problems where it can be repaired, and gets things going in a better, more forward and progressive manner instead of going backwards. Because why continue to go backwards? Why keep falling into the same things? Why not push forward? Why not, see the issues, cauterize the wound essentially, and heal and repair where possible, and then, go in a better direction, more positively, where humanity actually remains. What is it that is needed? What is it that can actually bring forward that specific necessity? And I just went back to doing my Medal of Honor project, writing up where I could, and just one step at a time, and then, did what I could, where I could, like any other day. good, bad, or indifferent to some. I knew that some people, the reference of which for good, bad, indifferent that I have given in other references is a tree. Some people see a tree and they're just indifferent towards the tree being there. Other people see the same tree and they only see the type of tree that it is. And they're like, oh, that's a taproot and it goes into the plumbing system, or that's a spreader root and it goes here, here, and here. And it does this, that, and the other. And then there are those who see the good. And it's like, well, there's shade. There's, fruit that can grow from it. Flowers, obviously, before the fruit. Home for animals. A way to calm the breeze a little bit from being so strong in certain regards, preventing a flooding in other ways, so on and so forth. And not to sound all hippy-dippy or anything like that. Just, pointing out the reality of certain things. And it's just one of those, well, that sort of metaphor sort of thing. So, yeah, I had sent it to Q Patootie Navy SEAL. I did. Q Patootie. That challenge still lies right where I threw it down. And so, still want a fairy hug. I was going to go run. Big ol' hug. I'm going to continue on instead of going on with those thoughts. And so going into the Command Sergeant Major, for those who understand military stuff, you understand military stuff. So a Command Sergeant Major, I think it's an E8 or an E9. And so this guy walks into the orderly room when I was in medical hold. This is after my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000, after waking up from the coma. All that sort of stuff. The issues were already acknowledged and seen as far as my problems with technology, and I was on the phone. I had answered the phone, taking messages and stuff like that, and I see out of the peripheral vision everybody get up and stand at the position of attention, and I'm just, and then some people are standing at the position of parade rest, and I'm just like, okay, well, put the phone in my. And yeah, you have a good one, bye-bye. And put, just, hello. And so there's this big guy. He's standing in front of me, and I'm just on the other side of the desk, and I am about to get in trouble. That is all I could think. It was like, I don't know what I'm about to get in trouble for. I know I'm about to get in trouble, though. And then I found out how I was about, because, the guy just looked at me, and I looked at the guy, and, well, good morning, Sergeant. Oh, yeah, so those who understand the difference between a Command Sergeant Major and a Sergeant could understand how red his face was getting instantly. Well, Specialist Watson, or Corporal Watson runs over and he's like, Command Sergeant Major, Private Hom had a head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000. He didn't giggle. She does not know rank, blah, 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 and just, and I'm like, thank you, Watson. I'm in so much trouble. I'm in so much trouble. And that guy goes from to okay. And it's like, ooh, I don't know what to do. My pockets were already quite full at that point in time with counseling statements. So I'm thinking, got a few areas that I could put that counseling statement in, or however many are going to come. Fantastic. And so it's like, the guy goes, do you know how to tell the difference between a Command Sergeant Major and a sergeant. Nope, not at all. He leans forward and he goes, you see this? Well, my hair is not the same color, but he points to his hair and he goes, you see all that gray hair, all that salt and pepper in there? Uh-huh. That's how you know. Command Sergeant Major, not a sergeant. Which backfired. Later, not very long after, as like literally that week, and I was at Brooke Army Medical Center, and I'm walking towards my appointment, and I see the Command Sergeant Major, and I go, good morning, Command Sergeant Majors, and just keep on walking. And then I hear a female go, what, get back here, Private. Oh, come on. What did I do wrong now? Man, that Command Sergeant Major looks over and he goes, oh my God, yeah, Command Sergeant Major. He's like, oh my God, yes, Command Sergeant Major. And that guy just snapped to attention. I'm like, uh-oh. I'm about to really get in trouble. In my thoughts, it's like, oh, I'm in so much trouble. So the full bird colonel that was standing next to the Command Sergeant Major. Those who understand military stuff understand that. And so, you know, she then asks me, why did you not salute me? And I said, because you're a Command Sergeant Major. Wrong answer. No, not the correct answer. And no, do you not see these birds on each mountain? I see them now. I definitely see those birds. One on each side of your collar, ma'am. I just see it. Yes, I do, ma'am. So then, the colonel asks me, why would you think that I am a Command Sergeant Major? And that Command Sergeant Major that was actually there, oh my God. Yeah, what could you... And the colonel snapped back to attention, Command Sergeant Major. Private, why did you call me a Command Sergeant Major? Because I met the Command Sergeant Major in Medical Hold Unit. So what does that have to do with anything? Well, you know, I accidentally called him a sergeant, and apparently he's not a sergeant. And that colonel went, what did you just say? Yeah, he's apparently not a sergeant. Well, how do you know that? Because he told me that the way you tell the difference between a sergeant and a Command Sergeant Major is the color of the hair, and he has salt and pepper color hair, and so do you. That was the wrong answer, apparently. Because she did. She has salt and pepper color hair. And so then she very much informed me that she was not a Command Sergeant Major and that she was a colonel, and the birds on her collar, and yeah, so how am I supposed to know now? Because if I'm not supposed to go off of hair color, I'm so confused. And that didn't go over well with that colonel. And then she yelled the whole bunch. And then she then asked me, well, why are you so stupid? Well, I had a head injury on Palm Sunday this year during basic training. Why did you do that? Because the drill sergeant threw me into the metal part of the bunk. I mean, I didn't do it, but that's what he did. What did you just say? Yeah, drill sergeant threw me in the metal part of the bunk. I'm on my way to a neurology appointment, you know. But apparently I'm going to get yelled at because I didn't know it was hair color that I'm not supposed to pay attention to. For rank. So could you let me know? Because, like, I am so confused. Yeah, that's not how you speak to a colonel, by the way. And so then I was informed that you don't speak to a colonel that way. And then, you know, ironically, Corporal Watson was showing up for an appointment he had, and he walked by and he's like, "Hey, what's up, Hom?" Well, the command sergeant major, "Get over here!" And then I'm looking at Watson and I'm like, it's not hair color that you go off of for rank. And he looks at me, he's like, "Yeah, no shit, Hom. Yeah, well, you know, I'm in trouble." "Well, what did you do?" Because the colonel and the command sergeant major were talking. Mainly the colonel was yelling at the command sergeant major, and the command sergeant major was trying to explain things. Watson is standing there at the position of attention, and I'm just like, "So, you know, this is what happened." And so, you know, how am I supposed to be able to tell? Because I obviously looked at the command sergeant major's ranks. And he said it wasn't a sergeant. And he said, "Look at his hair. And she has the same color hair as a command sergeant major." She heard that, started going a little bit further into that. And Watson was like, "Oh my God, Hom, seriously." "Yes, what? What I do wrong now?" "A lot. I knew this stuff before I had my head injury." Okay. So then, after that, I wound up having to learn ranks. Because rank, when in uniform, has nothing to do with whether or not somebody has salt and pepper color hair. That is the moral of that story. And so I'm going to end this particular video broadcast on that one. And you guys comment and like and share and subscribe and have a good one.